Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, which is entitled The Startup Journey, Your 12-Step Action Plan. I am Glory Inaya, and I'm pleased to be the moderator of today's session. So, first of all, you might want to know, okay, Glory, why should I listen to you? So, my name is Glory Inaya. They call me the Digital Business Growth Expert, and I started my career at Accenture. As a change management consultant at Accenture, I manage change arising from different digital technologies, Microsoft, SAP, Oracle, Sage, and other bespoke software packages. So now you know that if you know anything about technology, you know very well that the process of gaining adoption for an SAP project is similar to the process of gaining adoption for a startup project. At least I learned that through my experience. And so I was able to apply the knowledge I gained from all these deployments to my work currently with startups. In my role as a consultant, I work for clients in oil and gas, such as Nigerian LNG, NNPC, Etena, and so on. I work for the public sector, FIRS, NAPIMS, and a couple of other public sector agencies. I worked in banking, Access Bank, WEMA, UBA, FSDH, Keystone, and then I worked in telecommunications, MTN, and so on. So I have quite a lot of experience with this running digital businesses for large companies. So you might be wondering, how did my journey with startups begin? So I went back to, after a while, I went back to school for my MBA from Lagos Business School. And while I was there, I took a course on platforms, which led me to launch an online consulting platform called Cleos Africa. Now, fast forward several years later, I not only run a startup, which is Cleos Africa, I also teach people how to run startups as a faculty member teaching e-commerce and platform strategy at LBS. I also mentor startups as the lead mentor for Keystone Startup Advantage Program and other female empowerment programs such as Sherry Blair Foundation, Flourish Africa, She Leads Africa, Grow Movement, and so on. I'm currently studying for a PhD in entrepreneurship with a focus on the fintech industry, and I'm widely published in top-tier publications such as the Harvard Business Review. So I'm very pleased to be able to share my wealth of knowledge and experience with you today. So quick poll. Before we start, what's the most difficult part of the startup journey? Okay. Just take a few minutes to get your feedback. Okay, so interestingly, we're going to cover 12 of these elements of the startup journey in today's session. First of all, I'll teach you how to understand entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship actually about? Then we'll discuss how to build your business acumen. Then we'll talk about how to create an innovative product. Then we'll talk about how to conduct initial market research. I'll discuss how to size the opportunity, talk about feasibility analysis, talk about creating a business plan, talk about crafting your branding strategy, talk about test marketing your products, talk about building your team, talk about your entrepreneurial strategy, and then we'll talk about incorporation. And we're going to do this because I know human beings like stories, especially when listening for a long time, it can get boring. So if you're not relating it to a practical example. So I'm going to use the example of Amara, who is, you can see her picture. She's a budding technology entrepreneur, and she's going to be the subject of today's case study. So we'll start with the first phase, understanding entrepreneurship. I'm sure many of us think we know what entrepreneurship is. Maybe you might learn one or two more things in this section. Okay, so meet Amara. She's a recent computer science graduate from a university in Nigeria. After her NYSC, she was awaiting her first job when she stumbled across the story of a successful female entrepreneur in Forbes. You know, she was just in the one Sunday flipping through, and then, you know, she sees the story of a woman that succeeded in her business in Forbes Africa, and she started to wonder, do I have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, a female tech entrepreneur, to launch a startup and to grow it and to make an impact. And so in the middle of her introspection, she went online and took an online quiz to determine if she had entrepreneurial qualities. So what's entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship, many people see entrepreneurship as different things, as a means of livelihood, as a side hustle, as a means of making an impact in society. There are different elements of entrepreneurship, but at its core, entrepreneurship is a vocation which involves service. Of course, if you're not customer-centric, if you're not employee-centric, if you're not investor-centric, if you're not board-centric, your company is not going to succeed. So as the CEO of an entrepreneurial venture, you're actually the chief servant of the organization. Many people go into entrepreneurship because they want to be their own boss. It's not a bad idea, but the truth is you're exchanging, if as an entrepreneur, whereas an employee has just one boss, maybe the manager that is reviewing his work, you have several bosses. The marketplace is your boss, your employees, your investors, especially, are your boss, your customers. Customer is king, so customer is also your boss. And so you need to ask yourself, do you have the vocation of being an entrepreneur? Do you have what it takes? Are you innovative? Are you target-driven? Are you goal-oriented? Are you an achiever? Are you a moderate risk taker? Are you resilient? These are some of the elements of the vocation of entrepreneurship. Now, there are also different types of entrepreneurs depending on, so it's not a one-size-fits-all occupation. The most popular one, at least amongst the younger generation of the Gen Z, is technology entrepreneurs. Many of us have heard of popular and famous tech entrepreneurs like Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and so on. A technology entrepreneur is someone that brings about an innovative way of doing business and ensures that innovation gains wide adoption. So remember when I was saying that the difference between an SAP project and an entrepreneur and a tech startup is not, there's not a lot of difference between the two. So this is the kind of entrepreneurship I'm speaking about. And a tech entrepreneur usually can take two strategies, can either adopt the lean startup methodology where he just runs out of his company out of his own pocket, or he can adopt the VC, can go to the venture capital route, which I'm going to share in more detail later in the presentation. So if you're a tech entrepreneur here and you're on the call, you should be asking yourself, are you going to go the lean route? Are you going to go to VC routes? Then the social entrepreneur. Social entrepreneur is an action-oriented idealist. So the person wants to make a difference in society. They see the world and see the problems of the world, and they say, I have to find a way to solve it. So whether it's education or health or in the environment or gender equality, the person has one of the SDG goals at the back of his mind. So where the technology entrepreneur is focused on innovation, the social entrepreneur is very focused on impact. Examples of social entrepreneurs, one of the prime examples is Mohammed Yunus, who is the founder of the Grameen Bank, and he pioneered the microfinance concept and won the Nobel Peace Prize for that. So then, the vast majority of entrepreneurs are neither tech entrepreneurs or social entrepreneurs. They're just small business entrepreneurs. So whether it's a restaurant or a bookshop or a fashion house or a school, you can own this type of business and you're not really aiming to achieve momentous scale, and you're not aiming to win the Nobel Prize. You just want to have a business that runs, that makes money, and that keeps you and your family, which you can hopefully pass down to your children at some point in time. So if this is you, then if that's the kind of business that you want to run, then you're a small business entrepreneur. So what are the action steps for this? Again, I want this to be very actionable. So at the end of each phase, I'll talk about different action steps. So the action steps for this phase is, you should be able to, you can jot it down. Ask yourself, what does entrepreneurship mean to you? Do you have the traits of an entrepreneur? Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? And what type of entrepreneur do you want to be? Okay, so it's also very important for you to appraise your entrepreneurial skills. What are entrepreneurial skills? One of the skills of an entrepreneur or characteristics of an entrepreneur is a burning desire to be in charge of whatever they find themselves doing. So entrepreneurs want to be in control of resources available to them and to achieve their goals. Another skill is they have an appetite for moderate risks. Entrepreneurs may not be reckless. They're not reckless. They take what they call calculated risks, and they don't take all the risks available, but they take calculated risks. They also have a belief in their personal success. You know, they believe in themselves, and based on that, they take informed decisions. They have staying power, and they're able to keep on with whatever venture they're on, even in the face of criticism and discouragement until they succeed. Then entrepreneurs are also not discouraged by failure. You know, they fall and rise again, and fall and rise again, and fall and rise again, and probably on the 10th attempt, they eventually make it. Oh, yeah, but and they're happy with that, probability that they may have to do that over and over and over again before they eventually succeed. Entrepreneurs are also adventurous in nature. They are always on the lookout for business opportunities, and they're willing to, you know, go to new frontiers and go to new frontiers in search of the newest opportunity. Yes. Okay. So we also need to find a way to avert business failure. There are many things that lead to business failure, such as managerial incompetence. You know, I'm going to talk about that more in the second section, but as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to be competent in business, in management, in accounting, in human resources, in building a solid culture, and you even need to understand business law, contracts. So it's not just about, oh, I have an idea and I'm going to be rich. Okay, but you need to understand these key intellectual disciplines so that you can make the right decisions at all times. Lack of capital can also be another reason for failure. Lack of experience, which is why you're encouraged to start a business in a field and industry that you have some experience in. Failure to plan can also lead to entrepreneurial failure, as well as unplanned expansion with borrowed funds. So you now have to ask yourself, okay, if these are the things that lead to failure, what are the things that lead to success? And so you have integrity. You know, when people know that you're a person of your word, you can keep to your word at any given time, then this is definitely a key success factor. Your reputation is a great asset when you're doing business. Strategic planning, an ability to see the big picture, understand the economy. I mean, currently the federal government has put in a lot of policies, and they have a huge impact on startups and small businesses. So to succeed, you need to also understand what those policies are. What are the impacts? What's the impact of those policies on your business, and then plan effectively to mitigate the negative impact and to take advantage of the positive impact. Then ability to learn and collaborate. Leaders are learners, so you always need to be learning new skills to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. Then also a healthy work-life balance. That's very key. You know, if not, you're going to fall prey to burnout, which, you know, has negative consequences for the business. Now, what are the action steps for this phase? You need to, so this is the phase of introspection. So I recommend that you take a test to discover whether you have an entrepreneurial personality or not. Okay, then the next phase is building your business acumen. Again, we'll look at the case of Amara. So Amara, having decided that she wanted to be an entrepreneur, she went on to register for a short course in entrepreneurship from a leading business school in Lagos called Riverview Business School. After speaking with the marketing manager, Kelechi, she also took advantage of the numerous online courses on entrepreneurship from Coursera and edX. So now, as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to have a good variety of a healthy mix of both soft skills and hard skills. What are those skills? So the soft skills you need to be on your startup journey are First of all, you need to understand innovative ideas and new trends. You know, what is trending? What are the new technologies in the market? Is it AI? Is it ChatGPT? Is it machine learning? Is it virtual reality? Is it blockchain? You need to understand all these so that you know the impact that it can have on your business. Then you also need to be a goal setter. You know, as an employee, people can be telling you what to do, but as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to set goals yourself. You need to be self-driven. And so that entails setting goals and training yourself to keep score. Looking at a personal example, I mean, I have lifetime goals, and those lifetime goals are broken down into 5-year goals. And of course, I don't know how long I'm going to live, so I can only speculate. But I have 5-year goals. Those 5-year goals are broken down into annual goals. Those annual goals are broken down into quarterly goals. Those quarterly goals are broken down into monthly goals. Those monthly goals are broken down into weekly goals, and those weekly goals are broken down into daily goals. I mean, I could go into hourly goals, but I think we all get the point, right? So you need to be a goal setter and train yourself to keep score, you know, so that you're intentional in your actions. Then as an entrepreneur, you're always communicating. So you need to learn how to communicate, whether you're pitching your business to your potential employees or to investors or to customers. You're always talking, you're always communicating. Today you're on a panel, tomorrow you're at a webinar, next tomorrow you're at a conference, or the next week you're at an event. So if you don't have good communication skills, you're going to struggle. So you need to work on that. Then you also need to take a course in negotiation, mediation, and conflict resolution. In business, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate, right? So you need to be able to learn the art of negotiation. And that's very key if you're going to be a good entrepreneur. So those are soft skills. Then we now have hard skills. Hard skills are accounting. I mean, accounting, I studied accounting. I have a first class in accounting. So even though I don't practice, I'm not a chartered accountant, and I don't work in an accounting firm, but I use that knowledge every day, because doing business without keeping records is like playing soccer without keeping score. You know, it's just like a hobby. It's amateurish. So you need to have very good knowledge of accounting. You need to understand personal finance, because when you start a business, you're going to have to be frugal, especially in the first few years. You may not be able to spend as much as people that have stable jobs and stable income, because you're building something of your own, and so you're having to make sacrifices. So you need to be really good at personal finance so that you can manage your lean finances until such a time that business is thriving, and then you can get back on track. You take a course in business law. So there's so many elements of the law that have to do with business, contracts, law of contracts, relating with lawyers, establishing an enterprise, legal entity, ownership and management of a company, company laws and corporate governance, e-commerce, basics of sales contracts, employment law, labor law, estate planning, business offenses, and all that. So many. You don't want to get on the wrong side of the law and have EFCC after you. So as they say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So you need to do it to yourself to get yourself equipped. Then, so what are your action steps for this phase? Learn and practice the following hard soft skills: innovation and creativity, goals and goal setting, business communication and negotiation. And then try to take online courses in accounting, personal finance, and business law, amongst others. So the third phase is creating an innovative product. Now, moving to Amara's case, how did Amara, now in this case, in this story, she has expressed desire to be an entrepreneur, but you know, she's trying to find the right business. So she has a weight problem and she's trying to find a personal trainer. She asks for a lot of referrals, but she's unable to weigh the effectiveness of each. So people say, oh, meet Bosse, meet Tunde, meet this person. But she's like, how can I tell these people are good ahead of time? Of course, everybody's going to want to say that they are great, but how can I get objective third-party evidence? You know, like they're thinking like a rating similar to Uber, the way Uber drivers are rated, testimonials, a track record. So, and then she suddenly hits on it. Wow, why don't I start a marketplace for personal trainers called Get Fit? And that's her innovative idea. So for you, You can have an innovative idea by analyzing existing products. There's a tool called the ACE matrix that was developed by some American professors. And the process of the ACE matrix is, first of all, identify the product's features. So pick an existing product, right? Identify its current features, then ask yourself, what are the positive attributes? What are the positive attributes, and then what are the negative attributes, and then how can these positive attributes be enhanced, and how can the negative attributes be reduced? Then in the middle of all that thinking, you're likely to come up with a sustainable solution. Then another way is also for you to observe the world around you. You can use the AEIOU framework. So activities, when you go out into the world, take note, what are people doing? The environment, how are they using the environment? Interactions, how are people interacting? Objects, what's being used or not used? And then users, who are the users? So by the time you're more observant, you see more opportunities to start new companies in the world around you. So what's the action step for this phase? Select an existing product that interests you and use the ACE matrix to modify the product and create an innovative product. Or you can observe the world around you and use the AEIOU framework to develop 3 unique insights to improve the world. Then finally, you can also look internally. Ask yourself, what problem did you experience this week? And ask 5 whys. So why? Why? Use the 5 why technique. Use 5 why technique to drill down at the core reason for the problem and brainstorm a solution, which can eventually be your new product. Then number 4, phase 4, conduct initial market research. So what did Amara do? Amara created a survey and emailed it to her blog followers, and then the responses proved to her that there was a market. So she has a blog on fitness because she has an existing blog on fitness that has about 3,000 followers. And so she, with her new idea for Get Fit, she emailed it to her blog followers, and then the responses from the followers were able to prove that she had a market. So at this stage, you need to conduct initial market research. What's market research? Market research is finding the gap in the market that your business can fill. And you do that by answering 3 questions. It was derived from the 3 C's approach was derived from a management consultant called Kenichi Ohime. And he said his 3 C's are: number 1, what does the customer want? Number 2, that the competition cannot deliver. Number 3, that the company can offer. So let me take it again. What does the customer want? That the competition can deliver, that your company can offer. So if you send out a survey to your potential customers, asking them these 3 questions, at least asking them what they want and what the competition is unable to deliver, then you now look internally and check your resources, do a SWOT analysis, and then determine what you can do. By the time you integrate all these insights, you should be able to have your market gap, which you can fill, and then that will give you a lot of strategic imperatives that you can put in place to achieve your entrepreneurial goal. So action steps for this: conduct a market research using any of these instruments. You can use Google Form, you can use SurveyMonkey, and then ask questions. You can put in the form, you can describe your product. So maybe it's a marketplace for personal trainers, like Amara's example. Then ask, what's people's reaction to this product? That they should rate the attributes of the product. What products are they in need of that other companies and other institutions that offer similar services are yet to provide? And then how willing will people be to subscribe to a product like this for maybe 500 naira a month, 5,000 naira a month, 15,000 naira a month, or whatever your ballpark price is. Then use the results to develop a marketing plan for your new product, create a budget for your marketing activities, and then identify the possible risks and plans for mitigating the risk of this product launch. Okay, then Phase 5 is to size the opportunity. So you need to come up with, you need to have a ballpark figure of the size of the market before you start. And that entails, what Amara did was that she prepared what we call an opportunity report for her Riverview class project. What does an opportunity report contain? First of all, an executive summary that, of course, you write last because you have to be clear of what is going to be in the body of the work before you write your executive summary. Then you do your opportunity description. Opportunity description has to do with asking yourself, what's the customer pain? How painful is the pain? Who are your customers? What are their preferences and consuming behaviors? Are end users and decision makers different people? What's your product or service? And so on. Then you now come up with a revenue model. Revenue model refers to how your company is going to make money. And it should entail your major revenue streams. So is it subscription? Is it commission? What's your cost structure? Fixed costs, variable costs, setup, operational? What assumptions are in your business model? When will you expect to break even? What's your potential forecasted cash flow and all that? Then you now look at the risk mitigators. What can go wrong with this idea? And how likely are these things to go wrong? And when are they likely to go wrong? Then are the risks internal to your business, things you can control, like technology, like the technology not working, or are they external? So like competitors developing a better technology, or the government policy making the operating environment much more difficult. And then come up with a strategy. How can you mitigate the strategies? Then you now have your multi-year financial projections. Come up with projected income statement, projected balance sheet, and then projected cash flow statement. So the action steps for this phase are, first of all, emphasize why is the opportunity an attractive one. Number two, can you make money from the opportunity? Because not every problem is a business opportunity. And then what are the potential pitfalls that you need to look out for? Then phase 6, assess the feasibility of your business. So Amara had lunch with her Riverview professor, Dr. Rose Darego, who asked her questions about the feasibility of her business model. Some of those questions include, number one, customer value proposition. Why should the customer buy from you? Are you competing on cost? Are you competing on quality? What are you competing on? Then your business environment. Is this the right time to start this business? For example, in Nigeria, we have when it was around election time, many people were hesitant to embark on new projects and more spending. And so there was a bit of contraction in the economy because people were uncertain. So it's just common sense and good business practice to take cognizance of the external environment when starting your business. Then your industry. Do you understand the industry very well? Do you know what's the average, how much does the average firm in your industry make, so that you know what you are also competing against? Then what's your sustainable competitive advantage? Sustainable meaning, are there barriers to entry? Or is it that once people find out that this business is profitable, you'll be swamped by a deluge of competitors? That would just be, that doesn't make for a good business idea. Then the economic logic. Does the business make sense financially? And then the team. Can you do this alone? Do you have people you're already going to work with? So you should rank your responses by low potential, moderate potential, and high potential. And then that will give you, when you sum it up, that will give you an idea of the overall potential of your business. So action steps for this phase will be for you to develop a feasibility study for your business using these different parameters. So phase 7 is to create a business plan. Okay, and I wanted to, we'll start with the example of Amara. Start with the example of Amara. Amara and her team created a draft business plan. After conducting a market analysis, financial forecast, and marketing strategy, they end up concluding that the idea is profitable. So for you, your business plan has to have three major elements: your marketing plan, your operations plan, your financial plan. Marketing is obviously how you intend to get and keep, how to intend a summary of what marketing is meeting needs profitably. So you need to find out the needs of your customers and then come up with a way to meet those needs. Then operations is how to deliver value. So after you've sold the product, how are you going to get that product across to your customer? And then finance has to do with money. After you deliver the product, how are you going to make money? So these are the three elements of a business plan: creating value through marketing, delivering value through operations, and then capturing value through financing. So you need to come up with that. And the action step for this phase is to develop a business plan. Then phase eight, your branding strategy. Amara ended up creating an elevator page for Get Fit. Her teammate Bola designed a logo and a graphic identity. Her teammate Ben built a financial model. Then as the programmer and CTO, she built the website. So you need to choose a catchy name for your business, something that is memorable. Of course, some people say the name does not necessarily have to mean anything, because some people say, what does Apple mean? What does Google mean? And all that. But you owe it to yourself to have a business whose name doesn't sound offensive to anybody in any language. And so you need to put a lot of thought into the name of your business. You also need to register a domain name. Go online and check that the domain of the business has not been taken by someone else, because that will be very expensive for you. Then if you find out that the name of your business has been taken, you might have to change it soon, but this is better sooner. It's better done sooner than later, so that it doesn't have a negative impact on your business and on your branding. Okay. So the action steps for this phase: brainstorm 5 potential names for your business. Use social media to determine the most popular version. You can ask questions to people that follow you, people on your page, and then use check hosting sites such as GoDaddy, Bluehost, and Namecheap to confirm the availability of your chosen name. Then you can also, the next stage in your branding is to build an elevator pitch. So the elevator pitch consists of these elements. Who are you? What do you do? And what's your unique selling proposition, and what are your goals? So I remember attending a conference for an event for women entrepreneurs. And then they asked us to introduce ourselves. And one woman, everybody was just saying banal things like their name, where they went to school, what they do, the name of their business. And then one woman introduced herself very succinctly by saying, "My name is Tope and I sell satisfaction." People said, "Okay, what does that mean?" Turned out she's a baker, she makes cakes. But I'll always remember that interview, that elevator pitch, because it was a very succinct and powerful way of describing a business that could be, otherwise seen as rather ordinary, like a cake making business. So for you, you need to be creative and coming up with your elevator pitch. It should cover, like I said, who you are, what you do, why you're unique, and then what you're trying to achieve. I mean, just imagine if you were, because the Union Bank building on Falomo houses Dangote's head office, also houses some Union Bank branches. So it's quite plausible that, your way to Union Bank, also on your way to one of the banks there, you take the elevator, and then lo and behold, Dangote enters the elevator with you, and you're with him for the next let's say 60 seconds, and then that's a once in a lifetime opportunity that you can't afford to squander as an entrepreneur. So what are you going to tell him that is going to get him to give you his business card and ask you to call him later? So that is your elevator pitch. You need to practice it. You can't just wait until the event happens and then you come up with it on the spot in a spontaneous way. It needs to be rehearsed, it needs to be punchy, it needs to be spot on. Then next is come up with a brand identity. So brand identity has to do with your positioning, your messaging, your brand strategy, your ecosystem. Look at your colors. You know, your brand colors is very important. What do the colors say about you? You know, different colors depict different things. Don't just pick pink because it's your favorite color. Pick red. Red depicts passion. Yellow depicts creativity. Orange depicts fun. Blue depicts calmness, which is why many banks use blue as their colors. So you need to be able to take those into consideration when you're crafting your brand identity. Then also you need to create a prototype. So the prototype may be physical, a physical good. Prototype may be software, or the prototype may be a service, but you need to have what is called an MVP, minimum viable product, and then a minimum viable prototype, and then launch that into the market. So once you have your prototype, you now move to the next phase, which is test marketing. So Amara, what did Amara do? She sent the link to the website to her blog followers. Remember earlier on, she had sent a survey to the followers and they seemed to indicated that there was a need. So she sent the link to the website to her blog followers and a good number of them signed up. She ended up revising her prices and based on the feedback she got from them, she ended up revising her prices and updating her business plan. So in testing your prototype, you need to have a hypothesis. So that hypothesis is it could be your business model, could be your financial model. So for example, for Get Fit, Amara may have hypothesized that the kind of people that will be interested in her product are middle-aged housewives living in Ikoyi. That's what she might think. But then on running, then the next stage will be, so that's our hypothesis. Then the next stage will be running a test, which is maybe running an online ad on Instagram or Facebook to now see the kind of people that eventually sign up for our program. And then she might end up seeing that people that are actually signing up for Get Fit are young undergraduates in Yaba and Nakoka, Unilag graduates. And then she now has to pivot and say, okay, I'll have to do something different. So in the process of doing this, she achieves product market fit. Product market fit means being in a good market with a product that is capable of satisfying the market. It's a significant milestone in your entrepreneurial journey. Then phase 10 is to build your team. So she ended up hiring Bola as her marketing lead, Ben as her CFO, and then she asked her former boss, Sandra, to be on her advisory board. So, you know, there's a difference between a team and a group. Both of them are groups, are collections of people, but a team has the difference between a team and a group is that a team has a common goal, while a group is just an assembly of people that just happen to find themselves in one place together. So I know Mark Zuckerberg mentioned that when he first started Facebook, he didn't know that most people that were on his team were just interested in the financial upside. So when he got an offer from a company that wanted to acquire him, he noticed that quite a lot of people, and he turned them down. He noticed that a good number of his team, they were aggrieved because they were just there for the acquisition. They just wanted to make money and move on. But he told them, no, I want to build something that will change the world, that will outlast me, that will leave a legacy. And then found out he lost almost 90% of his team because of that. So it's a lesson that when you're building your team, you need to find people that are on the same page as you are. If you just want a quick exit, make sure the people on your team have that goal. If you want to build a long-lasting company, also make sure people on your team have that goal. Then you need to assign team roles. In teams, there are all sorts of people. There are people that are idea people, cerebral people. There are people that are people, those are sales people. And there are people that are things people, those are action people. So you need to have a healthy mix of all these people in your team. There's a tool called the Bellby Team Inventory, Bellby Team Inventory. You can Google it. When people take that test, they will now determine, it shows them exactly what they bring to a team, whether they bring ideas, people skills, or action orientation. And that will help you in getting your right team member. Then if you're getting co-founders, you need to make sure that There are legal agreements spelling out the relationship between all of you. The legal agreement needs to state who owns what in terms of shares, needs to state benefits and commitments, needs to state the background and rationale of the agreement. Then importantly, a competition restriction clause, because you don't want to have a fallout with one of your co-founders and then next thing you see, they leave you and they go and clone your intellectual property and start a new business. If there's no clause restricting them, then that might very well happen to you. So you need to have a legal agreement before you even start that restricts that competition. You also need to clarify what are exit conditions, situations, what are the situations under which an exit can happen. Then you need to appoint advisors. There's a FAST agreement, which is created by Founders Institute. You can also Google that and find it online. It identifies, it's an agreement that you can send to advisors at any stage of your company. And then it clarifies how much are you going to give them. Could be 0.1%, could be 1%, could be 0.5%. It's not usually substantial. It's just something to motivate and incentivize them and show them that you value their time and their expertise, because they are given for free and not charging for, which you know you can't afford to pay at this point in time. Then phase 11 is your entrepreneurial strategy. So Amara decided to register Get Fit as a partner to the National Trainers Association, which is a value chain strategy. So there are 3 types of strategies, entrepreneurial strategies. There's the value chain strategy, which means cooperating with the incumbents. There's disruptive strategy, which means going into opposition with the incumbent. And then there's blue ocean strategy, which means choosing an industry that has no incumbents. So out of the 3, tell me in the chat, which one usually succeeds most? Take a few minutes to see. Okay, so it's actually the value chain strategy. The value chain strategy has been shown according to research that it succeeds most. So if you're starting a business, it's most likely that you go the value chain route like Amara did and partner with existing bodies and institutions to give your business the best chance of survival. Then finally, legal incorporation. If you notice, most people do this first. They have an idea for a company and they quickly go and incorporate, but it's a mistake because what if there's no demand for that business? What if the name is not right? What if the product is not right? What if the market is not right? You know, you have already done things that can't be undone legally. So at this stage, you can go ahead to legally incorporate your business. Amara asked Martha, her friend, to incorporate the entity. And then incorporation, a business can have different forms, can be a sole proprietorship, meaning it's owned by one individual. The benefit of this is that you get to keep all profits yourself and you don't have to answer to anybody else. But the disadvantage of this is that you're not protected. In the case of a liability, huge liability, they can come after you, take your property, take your assets, and wipe it all out. Partnership, also, this is common among accounting firms and law firms. It's a partnership of a group of people that come together to start a business. The benefits are that, you have other people that can support you, but the disadvantage is that, the liabilities are not as limited as in a limited liability company, which is the 3rd type of company to be registered. The limited liability company is a corporation in the actual sense of the word. If you want to go on to raise venture capital funding and sell your company, this is the form of business advice that you incorporate. The advantage of it is that you're protected, and your risk exposure is only exposed to the is limited to the amount of money that you put into the business. But the disadvantage is that it's quite expensive. You need to pay taxes. It's expensive to incorporate and to manage. You need to file regularly at the Corporate Affairs Commission and so on. So at this point, once the incorporation is done, you can have your launch party, and then the real work of building the company actually begins. So it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Happy to connect with you. My website is www.gloryainina.com. My email is gloria@gloryainina.com, and my phone number is 080-2295-1048. Okay, so it's been a pleasure speaking to you all, and I wish you the very best of the day. I wish you the very best of luck with your new startup business. And please reach out if you have any questions, if you want us to work together on any of the things I mentioned, your market research, your business plan, your feasibility study. I'm happy to support myself and my team of consultants. We're happy to support you to bring your business to life and move from idea to reality. So thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye then.